Ace 10 off, very dependent. If the big blind is irregular, I 3-bet a lot more. It also depends on how good I think he is. If it's a bad regular, I'm more inclined to call. If I think he's not the type of guy he's squeezing, let's say if there's an Adamo or a Mateos, I want to 3-bet myself because it's easier for them to bluff squeeze versus bluff 4-betting. But my first question is, if the button is a fish, I always 3-bet this for value because they're going to call a lot of hands I dominate. Very interesting board. I think I want to be betting relatively big. I have a lot of hands that do suffer from seeing a lot of turns and rivers and benefit from making a 2-street hand. Something like 10s, ace 9 suited, king 9 suited, jacks, even queens to a certain degree. If you have queens and the turn is a 10, a jack, an 8, it's pretty nasty, a king, right? So and also with queens, you really want to stack jacks and 10s or something like ace 9 before the action killer comes. You want to put in as much money as possible. That's how you want to, you always want to think of, okay, if he has 7s and 9s, whatever, so be it. But you want to focus on the more likely holdings he can have, since there is a 7 and 9 on the board and we unblock all the 10s, we unblock all the jacks. And it's also more likely for him to have ace 9, king 9 suited, queen 9 suited, jack 9 suited, 9 8 suited, than for him to have 9s or 7s. So 70-80% of the times he's going to have a hand that has 10, 15, 20% equity. So we want to pile in as much money as possible. And decent, let's say 50% of the time, it's going to be low card run out, like 7, 9, deuce, then a 3, right? And we can put in another big bet, and usually people have a hard time folding these. So for me, something like ace king, ace queen, I would bet small or check. And I think ace 10 here, even though I would prefer having the ace and spades, but I think here just fine that you bet a bit bigger. It also makes a lot of sense because if he has pocket 5s, if he has something like ace 10 and hearts, ace jack and hearts, he just can't continue against the bigger bet. Also folding out something like queen jack hearts that would call against the 1/3 bet. Can even go 15 big blinds, to be honest. But I thought I want to have some small bets. I want to have some medium sized bets. And then if I have like 10s or jacks, I would go 15 big blinds. With the 10 and diamonds, we have an interesting blocker, blocking jack 10 diamonds, 10 8 diamonds. So to me, it's a very natural second barrel. I'm not sure if he would continue with like a naked open-ended straight draw, where some of his outs are dirty, meaning if we barrel something like ace 5 and diamonds, 6 and diamonds is not live anymore for him, or the jack and diamonds. But obviously he would continue with jack 10 and diamonds, he would continue with 10 8 and diamonds. So having the 10 and diamonds here is, I think, very helpful. I would give up something like ace jack now if I decided to bet big, or something like queen jack that you can also bet big on the flop. And then I would continue just with really good blockers or with equity. So we keep betting, and the river is at 10. And I think now with this deck to pot ratio, I would also expect people to jam and raise 10s and jacks very often. And he's going to have all the ace 9s, king 9s, queen 9s, jack 9s, 9 8s. I think with my image, it's very good to jam for value on the river. If you don't have such an aggressive image and you are not certain you're going to be called more than 50% of the time with a worse hand, I would just check for the river. There's a slight chance he continues with 10 8 and hearts, but I would say if he's somewhat solid, he would fold this. But I decided to value jam, and he tanks forever, and he decides to fold. Definitely seen some crazy call downs here in these spots. You might have seen it on stream as well.
Diamonds, I think we're just gonna get the call here, especially with our bounty. There's some slow plays, but I think it should be good enough. Let's fucking go. Wanted to be a hero, but he ain't one.
With my image, the people perceive me, I think it's a fine value jam. I mean, it's like, what, 40% pot left, so I think it's fine to jam there.